writing activities, or as we say, tâches écrites, are important because they help to clarify your thinking and express your ideas effectively. They help develop your critical thinking and communication skills as a student. And with creativity, when that's applied to writing, it allows for your deeper engagement with your learning, which in turn allows for a stronger grasp of your skills. And so this is related to the curriculum because the curriculum focuses on being able to effectively apply your knowledge to your activities that you are doing.
Unfortunately, a lot of French students complain about the fact that French class is just about grammar sheets and memorizing verbs for the test. This is not what FSL is about. Yes, of course, you need to teach grammar, and grammar is not a bad thing, but you need to integrate these grammar activities into your lesson plan and make it interactive. So here is an example of a grammar activity that is interactive and engaging for the class.
This is an activity that I created 6 years ago when I was peer helping a grade 10 core French class. Les doubles pronoms, une activité de pratique. Les instructions. So, first things first, I describe what they have to do. Replace the underlined words with 2 appropriate pronouns. Then write the correct sentence on the whiteboards. So what I did was I had my students sit in their table groups, and each time I put up a question on the PowerPoint, they had to write the correct response on their whiteboard, and the first team to show me their whiteboard with the correct response got a point for their team. So it was an interactive game. But before I started the activity, I made sure to review the concept. So, l'ordre des pronoms. Me, te, ce, nous, vous, le, l'aller, lui, leur, pronom y, pronom on. So this is the order of the pronouns in French. Catégorie numéro 1, les temps simples. Le présent, present tense, future tense. Les pronoms sont placés devant le verbe. And I show them an example. Je donne le cadeau à mon ami. Je le lui donne. Le remplace le cadeau. Lui replaces à mon ami. And then now I started the activity after quickly and briefly reviewing the concept that they learned. So, first question. Vous ouvrez la porte au directeur. I would have students quickly in their teams come up with the correct answer and show me it. And once the team showed me the correct response, I would confirm the response with the class. Vous la lui ouvrez. So, as you can tell in my PowerPoint, I like to have images as well that represent the vocabulary on the PowerPoint, just in case students, aren't sure of what, les livres is. They see a picture of books. On place les livres sur le sofa, on les y place. Catégorie numéro 2. Un verbe conjugué plus infinitif. Again, this is the second category, except with infinitive verbs. Je vais donner les cadeaux à mes amis. Je vais les leur donner. And then you have the questions and the answers. Third category, les temps composés, avec les verbes au passé composé. Maintenant, les pronoms sont placés devant l'auxiliaire. J'ai donné les cadeaux à mes amis. Je les leur ai donnés. And I explain that there is an agreement, il y a un accord. Les est pluriel, alors on met le S au fin du participe passé. And here I have another slide explaining the agreements pour les participes passés en français. Exceptions. And then now we get into the activity. So, il a fait ses devoirs à la maison, il les y a fait. So now I've combined all the different verb tenses. I have present tense, future tense, and passé composé, past tense. So this is the culminating part of the activity where we combine our knowledge from all 3 verb tenses. Vous avez réussi la leçon de grammaire. So when I finish the activity, I like to motivate the students. So I say, vous êtes maintenant les experts. So there you have an example of a fun activity that you can do with your students in order to prepare them for a test or to review a grammatical concept that you taught them in class. This is to say that grammar is not just, filling in blanks on a worksheet. You can do something fun and interactive with it, such as creating a game like this one, or Grammar Jeopardy, or whatever you'd like. So please use this as motivation to enhance teaching grammar in your French classroom. Thank you.
Students need time to practice their acquired knowledge before the test. That is why practice tests are so important, to introduce students to the testing process, explaining how the test will be formatted and how you will be testing them, whether that is 5 fill-in-the-blanks, 3 multiple-choice questions, and 2 definitions. They need to know how you will be testing them and what exactly you'll be looking for. So practice tests lets them be more at ease with taking tests about new acquired knowledge that they have. So here's an activity and a video about how a practice quiz could look like.
As FSL teachers, I think it's very important for us to give multiple opportunities to our students to practice the concept learned in class. So for grammar, one thing that I've done is I've created a practice quiz and the actual quiz that I mark and hand back to the students. I did this 6 years ago with my grade 10 core French class. So as you can see, this quiz is on le conditionnel présent, a French verb tense. And students had to conjugate the verbs. There's 10 verbs to conjugate. And on the second part of the practice quiz, I gave them a little blurb with the formulas that they have to memorize for the quiz. And then in this section, they have to choose between imparfait ou conditionnel présent for these sentences. And there's 5 sentences out of 20 marks. Now let's take a look at the actual quiz. What do you notice? The actual quiz is virtually identical to the practice quiz. Part A, avec les verbes à conjuguer, and Part B, il faut choisir entre conditionnel présent ou imparfait. The only difference is in Part B, I did not give them the clues of the formulas that they needed to know. When to use imparfait, when to use conditionnel présent. And again, out of 20 marks. So as you can see, the quiz is identical to the practice quiz. There are no surprises. As teachers, we aren't out there to trick our students. We want them to succeed. So the quiz is identical to the practice quiz. The only difference is that obviously the verbs and the questions are different than the practice quiz. So what I did was I did an activity in class, for example, like the previous one you've seen with les doubles pronoms, and engaging interactive activity to practice the grammatical concept in class. And then I gave them a practice sheet to take home. They did that for homework. They came back to class the next day and we took it up as a class. We took up the conjugations, we took up the questions, and then the following class, that's when I gave them the actual evaluation. So there's no excuses for failure. All my students achieved level 4 on this quiz because I gave them multiple opportunities to practice and reinforce the concept before doing the actual quiz. And the actual quiz was not a trick. It wasn't anything that was super difficult or different than what we've practiced in class. So I hope this idea inspires you when you teach grammar and when you evaluate your students on grammar for the writing component of the curriculum. Thank you.
Grammar and language structures is great and it's important, but you also have to know how to apply them effectively to a variety of different writing tasks. For example, like newspapers, opinion paragraphs, exit tickets, or even full-on essays. So up next is an activity that Austin had prepared or had done when he was in school about an article called Ranger ce téléphone. He did it when he was in school, and now he's planning to apply it in conjunction with an écoute activity or an écoute video with his grade 12 class to see if it works effectively.
In FSL, yes, we can teach our students to memorize verbs, memorize conjugations, learn language structures, but are they actually able to apply the language structures that they've learned to a written text? So this, in fact, was an assignment that I did when I was in grade 12, except I've taken it, I've changed it, adapted, and modified it. So some changes I made was For the activité d'écoute, I had students watch a video, Les jeunes et la technologie, young people and technology. And I'm making them consider the ideas that they learned in the video, as well as the ideas from the text, to come up with their own arguments in a written piece. So, the question is, after having watched the video about young people and technology, after having read this article, Ranger ce téléphone, you're presented with the scenario. You're sitting at home, about to have dinner, and then a text notification comes in, or your phone starts going off. What are you going to do? So in your text, use at least one quotation or one part of the article to justify and help shape your responses. So here are the questions. What would you do in this situation and why? Write a paragraph. After having watched Cyprien's video and after having read this article, how do you see phones and technological devices differently? Why or why not? That's another paragraph. And finally, thinking and reflecting upon the discussion that you had in class about this article and about the video, do you have any other ideas, opinions, or comments to add? So those are the three main questions that I want students to answer in this written piece. So now we've come to the evaluation. So we have knowledge and understanding. Did they understand the subject? Do they know what they're talking about? Do they understand how to use the language? Réflexion et enquête. We have thinking and inquiry. Did they show a personal connection or many personal connections to the subject at hand? Were they able to use critical thinking skills in their writing and make it interesting? We have communication. Communication, this is very important. So did they avoid using English language structures in their French written piece? Did they use appropriate vocabulary for the task? So did they use some new words that they learned from the video or from the text? Was there lots of grammar mistakes that prevented the reader from understanding what they were trying to say? Did they use run-on sentences? That kind of thing. That's communication. And then finally, we have mise en pratique, application. Were they able to use the French language and use the structures learned in this context of a personal reaction, of a personal written piece? Were they able to do that? So those are the four strands in the achievement chart of the Ontario curriculum: connaissance et compréhension, knowledge and understanding, réflexion et enquête, thinking and inquiry, communication, obviously communication, et mise en pratique, application. Those are the four strands that I will be evaluating with this assignment. And I think as well, when you give students written tasks, give them things that might motivate them. Talk about subjects that are relevant to their lives. So I thought that, okay, well, technology, phones, teenagers, we all have a tendency to be addicted to our phones. A lot of us have tendencies to want to check our phone at every moment, want to check Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. So I thought that this subject was relevant to them, and it makes them think critically. It makes them think a bit more about it. So that's an example of a written task that you can use with your students in an FSL classroom. Thank you.